Rule number 1. The ball is in play once it has been thrown in or pucked, after the referee has given a signal to start or restart play. Rule number 2. The ball may not be touched on the ground with the hands, except when a player is knocked down or falls and the ball in his hand. Rule number 3. After a foul, play is restarted by a free puck or throw-in, where the foul occurred. Exceptions. See Rule 5, Section 16, 36, and Rule 6.4. That's fairly boring stuff, isn't it? If you've never seen or played hurling before, and all you've done is spent the last 14 years in school studying those rules, you'd hardly be bothered checking it out, would you? Hurling is one of the most exciting sports on the planet, but you wouldn't have a feel for that from the rules. And it's the exact same with maths. Yet we've spent 14 years of our lives studying the rules in school without ever having a feel for the true power of using it in real life. Every day in my maths class in school, my friends used to say to the teacher, "Sir, sure, when are we ever going to use this in real life?" And is it any wonder? Students feel like they've been asked to pursue these airy-fairy concepts in maths that they just can't relate to. You see, when something stays in a textbook, it never comes alive. And as a result, students aren't excited or captivated by it, and they don't care if they understand it or not. And sure, would you blame them? There's no connection. And that's the heart of what I'd like to talk with you all about today. Reconnecting the thousands of Irish students that are disengaged with maths, and then giving them the confidence and skills they need so that they do reach their full potential in life. So this brings me to my basket and the protagonist of my story, Oisín, a 13-year-old from Kildare who I met because he attended the Think Academy's summer course last August. On the first day of the course, Oisín had that disinterested, "I was bribed to come here" expression all over his face. The horse was dragged to the water and there wasn't a chance he was drinking it. A dear friend of mine believes that everybody has a talent for something. And for those that appear no good at anything, she believes that they're brilliant at something. Maybe something like basket weaving. But they just haven't found that talent yet. Basket weaving. If you were cynical, you'd use the term basket weaver as code for someone who you thought was utterly useless and disinterested. And after day 1 and 2 of the course, you'd have said Oisín is a disinterested basket weaver. If we were doing maths over here, Oisín was looking over there. If I went over and gave him help, asked him a question, not in front of the rest of the class, just one-on-one between me and him, he'd blurt out an answer straight away without even trying to think. That way he felt I might just go away. That if he gave off the impression that he was totally useless and disinterested, that maybe I'd just give up on him. Because then he could return to sitting back in his chair and keep on telling himself that he was bad at maths. On the 3rd day of the course, we wanted the students to apply what they'd learned. So we let them group into teams, and each team had to design a carnival business game based on the probability that they had learned in the course up to that point. Now, they had total free rein on what they could do, but this was real business. It had to be sellable, and it had to be profitable. We also wanted to introduce the kids to coding because we wanted to highlight that in the real world, maths can be married with a myriad of other skills. So we said to them, if they wanted to, they could use computer programming as a way to forecast their business profits. Well, all of a sudden we had Oisín. All of a sudden, he wasn't looking out the window at the cat wandering around. He was getting engaged in the maths, because now maths had a use. Computer programming, a real application. All of a sudden, they weren't just formulas on a page for the sake of it. Probability had a purpose, because it was going to form the skeleton of his computer program. The difference was massive. Like, at the end of the day, Oisín was all chat now, and we were outside waiting for his mum to come and pick him up, and he was bursting full of ideas to go home and improve his computer program. So what am I getting at? If you bring the passions of children into a classroom, let them have creative freedom to put their own stamp on a challenge, and make the maths real for them, engagement shoots through the roof. And they're all having loads of fun in their teams, because they all had that one thing that they were good at. Oisín was the expert coder on his team, forecasting the business profits. The other girls on his team, they were into drama, so they led the presentation side of things. So they all felt like they were contributing, making a difference. And because of this, confidence was building inside all of them. And confidence is so important to a child's development, not just as a student, but as a person. Roy Keane, when captain of Manchester United, said that he used to know, by looking over at the other team in the tunnel in Old Trafford before a game, whether or not that team were beaten before they went out. Beaten by the fact that they were playing Manchester United. There are so many kids who believe they are beaten at maths before they start. And an education system that promotes rote learning, rather than training our kids to think, feeds this lack of confidence. Because you're basically saying to a child, we're not going to back your ability. Instead, what we'll do is, sure, we'll learn off a rake of stuff, we'll get Granny to light a candle in the church, and sure, please God, what we learned up will come up in the exam. That doesn't help confidence. Challenging them, getting them stuck, getting to come up with new ways around these obstacles, allowing them to fail, getting them comfortable with failure on the road to success. That'll build confidence. We all know confidence has to be well-founded. You can't just tell yourself you're a great lad and truly believe that you are. I've tried it and it doesn't work. There has to be a core set of skills to fall back on when you are faced with that new challenge. Skills like problem solving, communication, creative thinking. Skills that can be developed, and skills that, no matter what your future career, be it graphic design, journalism, engineering, skills that can help you flourish. And that's the way it has to be. Think about it. 30 years ago, no one foresaw cloud computing or many of the most sought after jobs in the world today. It's going to be the exact same in 30 years' time. Future careers, they're going to be carving out paths through new clouds that we've yet to discover. So if we don't arm our children with the right set of skills, how are they ever supposed to have the capability to soar in life? A couple of months after the Think Academy summer maths course, I sent Oisín an email linking him to some online resources to learn computer programming. To be honest, I was worried about him. Worried that he might have fallen back into his old habits. So I sent him an email to see how he was getting on without explicitly asking him how he was getting on. He sent me back a response within 10 minutes. He was 12 at the time. Hi, Padraig. The links you sent me is the kind of stuff I've been looking for quite a while now. Books are okay, and we're doing it in school, but my teacher is going at quite a slow pace. So this stuff will be really helpful and faster than listening to my friends asking, what's a mouse? So, anyway, thanks for everything. You've really helped me with the programming future I've dreamed of for myself. There are thousands of students like Oisín in Ireland today who switch off the moment they enter a classroom because they just see no relevance in it for them. But just because they look and act disinterested does not mean that they don't have dreams and ambitions of making something of themselves in this life. It's my job as a TEDx speaker today to share with you all an idea that's worth spreading. And if you take one thing home today, Make it that it's our challenge as a society to look out for all our children, be they budding poets, computer programmers, or basket weavers. Because if you can inspire them to apply themselves, give them the confidence and skills they need, then they will reach their full potential up there in those undiscovered clouds. Thanks very much.